What's up guys, it's Trevor with Embers Living. Today I'm excited to review a new product. We have the Weber Griddle. This is the 28-inch, comes in a 36-inch as well. I'm excited to review this thing because this thing has had a lot of hype around it. Let's roll. All right, don't forget, if you're in the Denver, Colorado area, come to our showroom today. Check out all of our awesome products for yourself and see what you think. Also, if you're new to our channel, subscribe, do all the things, helps us out a ton. Also, if you haven't checked out our awesome golf channel, we'll include links below. Check that out. It's new, super fun here at Embers, and you'll love that as well. If you're into golf, check it out. I think you'll like it. Okay, so Weber came out with a new griddle. If you haven't noticed, there is a race to the griddle market space, especially the under $1,000 range. Traeger just came out with one. Weber's all of a sudden in the griddle game. Obviously, Blackstone has done a good job of putting a dent in some, I think, some gas grill sales. People are converting to more of a griddle type concept. The thing with griddles is a griddle, kind of. There's two main things that I'm looking for when I'm reviewing a griddle that are absolutely critical because they all have a flat top cooker. One is even heat distribution, which we're gonna test on this, and two, grease cleanup. Now, we're not cooking on this model, but I can tell you by looking at it whether it's gonna have good grease cleanup or not, because that is the number one thing, is easily getting rid of grease, because it's so hard to do on a griddle versus like a gas grill. All right, so let's start on the outside. So, little spiel about Weber quick before I get into the outside. They are really focusing in on, I don't really like the word cheap because it's almost $500, but in the grill space, this is a very cheap griddle. So they're targeting purposely an affordable griddle. So I think that's why everything on here is so chintzy and cheap, because it's purposely price point as a cheap griddle. And so the cart, absolutely nothing to write home about. I do like that it has storage. Storage is always nice, but it's very tinny, very cheap looking, but that's obviously what they're going after. And I don't really care that the cart is so much cheap as long as it performs well. So we'll take a look at it here. It does come with this lid. This lid, you guessed it, very tinny. I mean, Tate could take one of these upside the head, you know, like a WWE match, pretty easy. But you wanna try it? Did that hurt? That one's a little hard. Yeah, you see? Tate put a little dent in it. Gosh darn it, Tate. Brand new griddle. Anyways, this thing's a cheap piece of junk. So, it does have nice little clips here that go here. It's nice to have some place to put this. And it's detached, so it's nice that we have hooks here and kind of go up out of the way. That I do like. So we do have a cast iron top. I'm really excited to get into this thing because I'm really curious to see how it is going to affect, or I want to see what the burners look like. Now, one thing I'm observing right away is, see all this open airspace? I don't think that would do very well in the wind. We'll test that as well, because I want to watch the burners and see what happens. We'll blow some air right in here and see if this does anything to the burners. Usually you want that area protected from wind, because if you have wind, it's definitely going to disrupt your even heat distribution. Ash dump is right here, so let's take a look at that. Okay, so look at that. What in the heck is that garbage? I mean, it's just tin. I mean, it's tin. Now, here's what I would have loved to see. Let me go show you. Let's go look at a Weber grill. All right, so come look at this. So this is the claim to flame. You like how I made that up? Is it claim to flame or claim to fame? It's claim to fame, but we'll call it claim to flame here. So this is a seamless aluminum firebox. So there's no seams. This does two things. One, it really traps heat in and promotes even heat distribution within the Weber grills. And because it's seamless, you're not going to have any leaks or seams anywhere where you're going to have any grease leaks. This is what made Weber Grill so good. This thing does such an awesome job of even heat distribution. Now, you would think in a saturated griddle marketplace, the best way you could separate yourself is put in the famous Weber seamless aluminum tub. Guess what's not in the griddle? This tub. It should be, but it would make it more expensive, so they probably didn't do it because of that. Just looking at this, I don't know how this is going to retain heat that well, this whole tub. I guess they're counting on the cast iron top. You know, cast iron does such a good job of retaining heat that this maybe is unimportant. But, I mean, you might as well not even have this thing here, am I right? So we're 100% dependent on our grease going down into here. And then we have our pull-out trays here with our grease trap. Now let's see what kind of burners. So we got piezo spark igniters. I did. So come over here, Chris. Let's try to light this thing. Okay, so that burner's lit. We're gonna keep it on high. Now you have to light each individual burner. Now I do like that they have their individual igniters, but what I would have loved to have seen, especially if the wind is susceptible to this thing, which I have a sneaky suspicion that it is that they would put connectors in here to connect these burners. So in case the wind were to blow one out, it will reignite itself, no problem. So now, and you're not gonna be able to see that with the griddle. On a gas grill, you can sort of eyeball it and tell if a burner's out. When you have a solid griddle over the top, it's gonna be harder to tell. So now I wanna test, one, how hot this gets, how high of a temp we can get this up to. And two, are we gonna have even heat distribution throughout? Now, I think the cast iron is gonna help with heat distribution. So let's give this 10 minutes or so, see how hot we can get this thing. Okay, so one thing that Weber does do that's a little bit different is their burners are high BTU. So you can see those have really nice flame to them. They call them a 4-way burner. And I will tell you this, Weber has a lot of experience making burners. So that thing has a 5-year warranty. One thing I can tell you is based on my burner experience with them, those burners are high capacity and they are gonna last a really long time. So that is one thing I do like about this grill is the burners are gonna be top notch compared to competitors in that price range. Now, one thing I failed to mention on the grease tray is they're also advertising the highest capacity amount of grease tray compared to the competitors. So it's 1450 cubic inches of grease trap. Now, I don't know how much leftover grease you want to leave in that thing at a time anyways, unless you're going crazy with bacon or something and one sitting, because critters and rodents are going to get into that thing. So you want to make sure you're dumping that regularly anyway. So that's really their two claim to flame. Here I go again. High capacity, reliable burners, and higher capacity grease trap. And higher capacity should mean this should get to temp quicker. I'm just curious what we're at. 350 degrees, so it's heating up quick. Definitely gets to temp quick. So before I even shoot this with the gun here, see these hot, we obviously haven't seasoned this yet, but those look like hot spots, like coming in the like white hot coals. It got hot quick. Let's see how even our temperature is. So on the edges, 425. Now if we go on that white hot spot, it's 450, so not a huge swing actually. In between, we're down to 410. There, back up to 435, 460. Let's see where we are. 470. Between burners here. 460. 480. I mean, those are temperature swings, but they're tolerable. Those, I'm not mad at that. And obviously, when you have it, we have it wide open. In a lower setting, it's going to be even less variable. So even though those burners are right in the middle, I mean, I'm not seeing more than a 20-degree temp swing, which isn't terrible. There we hit 490, so that's getting up there. I bet you if we give this another 10 minutes or so, we could get it up to 500. But you really aren't. I can't see a situation where you'd be running want a griddle hotter than 500. So even temp control is not bad. It's not bad. Now let's test if that wind would be a problem. So I think wind would be a problem with this thing. I'm telling you the truth on that. Now, what I will say is, in the fairness of them, their competitors have the same problem with the wind. So they're not doing anything their competitors aren't. Hey, I totally didn't notice this. Look on the bottom of this thing. It almost looks like heat exchangers. See those? Those little welded on pieces of cast iron, those little upside down triangles. That obviously has to be to help with the even temperature distribution. Do you see them in there, Chris?
What are you talking about?
See them on the bottom there? On the sides? So that must be something they're doing to help with the even temp distribution, because I was surprised that it was holding even temp across the board. All right, should we wrap this video up? Okay, final thoughts with the Weber Griddle. The cart is a piece of junk. The lid is a piece of junk. The burners are high BTU. It gets to temp fast. The grease tray is nice and large, which is nice. My only concern is that grease chute is right next to that burner. So I don't know if we'd have any grease fires. We'd have to do extended tests to see what we would have there. So my final thought is it's solid. I was actually impressed with how well the temperature held across the board with even temps. It is good, and the burners are really good. I guess my only qualm or beef with it is it's essentially, yeah, it holds more grease, higher BTU burners, but in this under $500 space, it's really, I don't think Weber really did anything to set themselves apart. It seems like everything else in the $500 space, which is what's been annoying me with Weber the last few years, especially now that they've gone public, is all their products, nothing's with their innovation, nothing's wowing me. Now, I'm telling you, they didn't build this product to wow us. They built it to compete in the $400 griddle space and take market share away from guys like Blackstone. And they might succeed. It's solid, but I would have loved to see them come out with something different, like a $1,000 griddle that actually improves the griddle cooking process, because to me, you're just doing what everyone else is already doing, but you're late to the game. So at that point, you don't really have any advantages. That's my viewpoint. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section. We are going to be putting this versus the new Traeger. We'll see you guys next time.